there, my name is Aya and you're watching Aya Reads, and I'm here to do a romance book recommendations video. And this time I'll be talking about Grump Sunshines. So I love grumps in romances. It's just one of my favorite things to read about, especially men who are grumps, like heroes who are grumps. That's my id. I love that. But I also really love prickly, grumpy heroines. So sunshine male characters are not really one of my favorite things to read about. I have loved some, which I'll talk about. But yeah, I don't know. I just love those prickly heroines that you really need to do like, for example, Nesta. I'm not recommending this book in this video, but A Court of Silver Flames. I love Nesta. I love that she's so grumpy and that Cassian is the sunshine, but still it's very, like, he's not a pushover in any way. But yeah, I love this trope. I can read a million of these books. So definitely I would love your recommendations for Grump Sunshine. Definitely leave them in the comments below, because some of them are very well known. So especially if you have some obscure recommendations, definitely leave those in the comments below. I'm sure that people who watch this video and are looking for more recommendations, definitely check the comments to see if there are other people who have recommended Grump Sunshine. So let's get started. This really is in no particular order, but actually the first one I'm going to talk about is one that's pretty similar to A Court of Silver Flames, and it's Broken Vow by Sophie Lark. This book, the woman is the grump in this book and the man is the sunshine. This is the 5th book in the Brutal Birthright series by her. You can read them out of order, but I would highly suggest you read them in order because there is an ongoing plot throughout this series, especially this one. If you're not going to read the whole series, definitely read the book before it. But anyway, this is about Raylan and Riona. And Riona, she has just like closed her heart off for love. She's very grumpy. And he is an ex-soldier, and he gets hired to be her bodyguard. Or not hired, he gets asked by his friend to become her bodyguard. And what I really love about this book is that yes, he's the sunshine and she might be the grump, but he's 100% not a pushover. In fact, there is a scene in this book where he dominates her and was very, very, very hot. And it was like exactly what she needed in that moment. It was very good. I would highly recommend this. Like, this is top tier Grump Sunshine in my opinion. Twisted Games by Anna Huang. Once again, a bodyguard romance. So we follow a princess and her bodyguard, and he's very grumpy and she's just full of sunshine and light. I love their dynamic in this book. I loved when he finally realized, you know, I can have her and she wants me too. Yeah, I loved Reese. Any character named Reese, I'm instantly gonna love, apparently. He is adamant that they keep things professional, and she's trying to get him to open up to her a little bit and be not on guard and just like kind of loosen his reins a little bit. And he's not about that life at all. Like, he's very strict with her. He has very, very clear rules that she needs to abide by. And that's really what makes him grumpy. And I really love this book. This is actually one of my 2 favorites in the series. So if you've not read this yet, I would highly, highly recommend it, especially if you love Grump Sunshine, but also if you really love bodyguard romances. It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. He's the grump, she's the sunshine in this book. Their first interaction is just hilarious. The amount of grumpiness that he oozes. And she's just like, go with the flow, living her life. This book is about this rich socialite who's gotten in trouble for the umpteenth time. So her stepfather gets sick of her shit, and he basically sends her to the town where her biological dad was from and her mother was from, to restore the bar that her father used to own. That's where she meets Brendan, who is the grumpiest of grumps. And you know, it's their love story. It's very good. Yeah, I love when he finally softens for her, and you know, he's still gruff and he's still not like this happy-go-lucky guy, but I just love it. What can I say? I love grumps. Grumps are my favorite type of hero. Stolen Heir by Sophie Lark. I forgot to mention this just yet. So this is where the man is the grump and the woman is the sunshine. This is the 2nd book in the Brutal Birthright series. By the way, this is a mafia romance series if you didn't know yet. So he kidnaps, actually, Riona's sister. She's this ballerina who doesn't know anything about the mafia life, even though her father and her brother are part of the mafia. And she's just living her life, doing her ballet dances, and all of a sudden she gets kidnapped because of events that happened in the 1st book in this series. And he's just he's had a hard life. He literally had to crawl out of like blackness to be where he is. And, you know, everything in his life, like he didn't used to be the grump in the past. Like he didn't used to be this like hard guy, but things happened in his past that made him that way. And then all of a sudden she comes into his life, kind of bright. Like he actually lives in like this Beauty and the Beast type manor. It is pretty much a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Like the manor, like the house he lives in is very dark and like this gothic looking house, like mansion. And she comes in with her ballet, with her trying to speak, like learn his language. She just sweeps him off his feet. And this is just such a romantic story. And I really loved how he fell for her and that he kind of watched her practice her ballet. It was just like, it was so cute. Love it. Romancing the Duke. This is, once again, a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Apparently that is a theme here. So he followed this Duke who's blind. And basically somebody is sabotaging his life and selling things from under him. One of the things that had been sold from under him is his house. So it has been sold to our heroine. Well, not sold, it actually has been given to our heroine. And so she's ready to move in and make it her place until she realizes somebody's already living there. And he, like I said, he's blind. He has not really adjusted to the fact that he's blind. His house has not really been catered to him in that way. So she decides, well, first of all, they go back and forth on whose house it really is. Then she decides, you know what, we're just going to live together then. So she decides to make his life easier by rearranging the furniture and stuff so he can get around easily. And he's not having it at all. He's just like set in his way, wanting to be a grump and wanting to, you know, make his life as difficult as possible. But she's not letting him. And they just come together. It was so cute. This is one of my favorites that I've read by her. Top Secret by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. So this is a male romance, and we follow Keaton and Luke. And Luke is the grump in this scenario. Luke has a very hard life. He has a mother who does not care about him at all, who's just using him for money, which he does not have, and a brother who's just a bum, and he's just like a criminal, and they don't care about him at all, and he's just set in his way. Like he's just ready to just like work very hard at college and then just get away from his shit life basically. So that kind of makes him a grump. He's just like, he is on a mission to just do his thing, and the only reason he's living in this frat, because this is a love story between two frat brothers, is because the rent is cheaper. So he's just like I said, set on his ways to get his degree and just move away. He's not really looking to make friends or anything. Keaton is very rich. He's very privileged. And he has a girlfriend at the beginning of this book. He's just like living his life, not a care in the world. He does have some cares, but they're just not as high stakes as Luke's is. And at the end of the day, even though he has some problems with his dad still takes care of him, at least financially. So they cannot stand each other at the beginning of this book. But Keaton's girlfriend is looking to have a threesome for her birthday. So he is set to do that for her. So he goes on this app where he finds Luke, but they don't know who each other is. And they talk back and forth. And Keaton kind of has his sexual awakening. Keaton thinks he's straight at the beginning of this book. Luke knows he's bi. So they talk, they try to set up this arrangement until one day they find out who each other is. And eventually Keaton and his girlfriend break up. And then it's the love story, obviously, between Keaton and Luke. Throughout their love story, Luke really doesn't want help from anyone. And Keaton just wants to help him. He wants to just take care of him. And that is really where the grump sunshine kind of gets ahead, because Luke is so stubborn, even though it wouldn't be a big deal for Keaton to just help him out. And yeah, I just really love this book. This is one of my favorite books I've read this year. I've already reread it, and I would highly recommend it. Especially if you love grump sunshines. Seduce Me at Sunrise by Lisa Kleypas. So this is the second book in the Hathaway series by her. We follow Kev and Win. Win is Sunshine. One thing that's kind of dimming her sunshine is that she's been sick for a couple of years now, and Kev is just grumpy. Like, he just so he's a Romani boy that the Hathaways found like almost beaten to death. So they took him in, but he's always kept a distance from the Hathaways. He's always felt like inferior, even though they didn't see him that way. He saw himself that way. And even though they felt like he was part of their family, he didn't want any of them. One person he did really love and has always loved is Win. He does love the rest, but one person he's always had a good connection to was Win. And she has made some moves in the past, and because he doesn't feel like he's good enough for her, he's always rejected her. And yeah, all of that combined make him the grumpiest of the grumps. So she left for a year, I believe, to get better. She went to France with her brother. Now she's back with with somebody that could potentially be a new love interest for her, and Kev is not having that. So he's trying to keep his distance, but he cannot. And what I really love about Win is that he doesn't really care. Like, he's a grump to anyone. He does not care. So Cam, who was the love interest in the first book, in this book he's married Amelia, and he's kind of become like sort of like the second head to the household. And Kev just cannot stand him, and he like he's not secretive about it at all. He's like, he doesn't care. Like, that is what I love about Cam. Like, that's what I love about Kev. He does not care how grumpy he is. He's just a grump to anybody. And he's still a grump. Like, even when he and Amelia fall in love, or he and Win fall in love, he's still a grump. Heartless by Elsie Silver. Can I make a recommendations video about grumps and sunshines and not include this one? This is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series. We follow Cade, who's a single dad, and he's very grumpy. He's like just a grump. Like, he's the ultimate grump. We follow Willa, who's like the definition of sunshine. She's funny. And there's a big age gap between them. Kate does not think he's good enough for Willa. She becomes his nanny, which is another added thing that is a reason for him to keep his distance and to become like, to stay grumpy. He's very, very, very rude to her in the beginning. And in fact, there's this great scene where he's like after, I believe this on the first day where she's his nanny, and he's already been so rude to her that at one point she's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm leaving. And he wants her to stay, and she actually makes him beg her to stay. And I was like, good for you, Willa. You know, you get that. You make him beg, because he definitely deserved that. Slowly he warms up to her, and his son's already in love with her, and he sees how good she's with his son, and he just like falls in love with her wholeheartedly. And it was so beautiful to read, especially love when, you know, in Grump Sunshines, when like there's like this little bit of a laugh or a little bit of a smile from the grump, like that is when you know the cracks have begun. And like, there was a great scene of that in here. And I like, if you've not read this yet for some reason and you really love Grump Sunshines, what are you doing with your life? Read this one. You can read this without having read Flawless, but I really loved Flawless too, so I would also recommend that one. And last but most certainly not least is Look the Part by Jewel E. Ann. If you have read Heartless, then I would highly recommend Look the Part, because they remind me of each other very much. Look the Part is about this widower who's a lawyer, I'm pretty sure, and he wants to rent out one of like a space above his office. And he rents it out to our heroine, but what he does not know is that she's a musical therapist, which means that there's constant music playing and he cannot concentrate because of that. So he basically issues, like, he wants her to move, like to leave. And there's like this whole banter between them of him wanting her to leave and being very grumpy about it, and her being like the ultimate sunshine. Once he's also a single dad, and his son really loves her and starts getting involved with the whole musical therapy aspect of it because his son has autism. So that kind of really reminded me of, Heartless reminded me of Look the Part, because Look the Part came out before Heartless. Yeah, it's just like she's such a quirky, fun character. She has rats, which is also a bane of his existence. And he just wants, like, he doesn't want her sunshine in his space, and he also doesn't want her music in his office space. And actually, a tagline at like the front of this book completely explains, like, he's this whole buttoned up lawyer type, and she's like this sunshine musical therapist. So actually on the front of the book it says, she's messing with me, my tie, my jacket, my resolve. So she's also always messing with his outfits, and he's just like, ugh, I love this book so much. It is one of my favorite books. I've not reread it yet ever since I read it the first time, but it has been on my reread list for a while now. I really, if I have the time this year, I really want to reread it. And if you, like I said, if you've loved Heartless, I really think you'll love Looked Apart by Jewel E.N. So yes, those are all my recommendations for Grump Sunshine. Love this trope, so there's definitely, I'm going to be reading way more of these in the future. Let me know your recommendations for Grump Sunshine, and definitely look forward to me doing another one of these recommendations videos in the future. Read more of them in the future. Very much looking forward to that. And I really want to thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.